Hi, everyone. Welcome. I don't know if any community members have logged on quite yet, but we'll give you a couple minutes just as everyone is coming in, clicking on the link. Just a couple minutes to get settled. All right, I see some people joining. So we'll give it a couple minutes. I know sometimes it takes a couple clicks to get on, so. All right, we're still just waiting a couple minutes for anyone logging on. And we will start shortly, but just like to give people a couple minutes so that they can join us at the beginning. All right, we'll give it a couple more minutes.
We're going to be bringing everybody into the group as a panelist, so everyone has a chance to speak. So if you want to accept the invitation to come in, that's what we're going to do. And then we'll get started in just a second.
Great. Okay, I see a few more people joining. We're just getting settled and making sure everyone's in before we start. So a couple more minutes. Great. I see a few more people joining. I know I keep repeating myself, but we're bringing everyone in. So we're just giving it a couple seconds for people to join our link. All right, why don't we give it about 2 more minutes or 1 more minute, start at 6:35. All right, just 1 more minute. We're adding everyone as a panelist so that people will get the opportunity to speak and ask questions. So just 1 more minute as we're getting everyone settled and into the room here. I'm hearing that a few people are not accepting our panelist invite. If you could please accept it, that would be great. So then we'll be able to have everyone here in the meeting room. So just a couple more minutes while we get everyone to just accept that invitation. That'd be great if you can accept it, and you'll be able to join our meeting and hear and see everyone. All right, if there's anyone else out there, if you could just accept our panelist invitation, that'd be great. So we can all be in and join together. See a few more people joining. Great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. And later on, when we give an opportunity for questions, I'll let everyone go ahead and raise their hand. But my name is Catherine, and I work in our Beach Cities Health District Communications Department. And since this is a virtual meeting, I'll just go over just some basic ground rules and kind of an overview of how we're going to run things. But welcome to our Beach Cities Health District Healthy Living Campus virtual open house. This is regarding our pre-application for our conditional use permit. During this meeting, we're going to ask participants to please go ahead and mute your microphone when you're not actively speaking. That'd be super helpful. And also raise your hand when you'd like to speak, and we'll go ahead and call on you just so that we can stay organized and hear everyone. We want to make sure everyone in the meeting also has a chance to ask questions. So if one person is dominating the conversation or we're running a little low on time, we may interrupt someone, and this is just to be able to give everyone a chance to speak. And today we have Tom Backley, our Beach Cities Health District CEO, and also Nick Biro from Blue Mountain Development and Paul Murdoch from Paul Murdoch Architects. So now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Nick Biro.
Thank you, Catherine. This is Nick Biro. I have a background in planning and real estate development. I'm working for Beach Cities Health District right now and in assisting the CUP process, which is the conditional use permit that is required to obtain in order to operate the actual project. The CUP process is a conditional use permit, design review, as well as the environmental review that the city needs to do in order to move things along. The Beach Cities Health District submitted on February 24th a pre-application. And what that means is that all the concepts and the project selection get submitted to the city to get initial feedback. And the city has 30 days to review that and give us preliminary feedback. And we're doing these outreach meetings to do the same and get preliminary feedback on the pre-application. And that is the project that was the EIR that was adopted, that was certified by the Beach Cities Health District. It's the project that was selected by the board of the Beach Cities Health District and what is moving forward for review. And again, we submitted the pre-application on February 24th and put all the materials that were submitted live on the Beach Cities website for you to review. And we're looking for your feedback on those materials on the project in order to get see what we can do and how we can accommodate some ideas and roll that in with the feedback from the city prior to doing the full conditional use permit application to submit to the city. So with that, I think we have a short video that we want to share, and then we want to open it up to your questions on the project.
All right, I can go ahead and share the video. All right, can everyone see the video?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I'll go ahead and play it.
What we're seeing here is a fly-through tour of the open space that is proposed as part of the project. And this is a walk around the fire access road that would be included in that open space.
And we can play it one more time. I know this one's choppy. We're gonna stop sharing real quick and we'll play it one more time. I think we. Does that look okay?
Looks good to me.
It's the same choppy.
This is still choppy. All right. We apologize for that. The video's large, but we can put it up on the website for everyone to see.
Thank you. I think with that, I hope that folks have had a chance to look through the materials that were submitted, and I want to open up for questions to see what questions you have and how we can answer those.
Okay, so if you do have a question, please go ahead and use the raise your hand feature. At the bottom, you should have an option. It says raise hand. All right, I'm seeing a hand raise from Jackie Euclid. If you'd like to go ahead and unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hi, this is Jim Ackland. I'm Jackie's husband. How you all doing?
Good.
There's been a lot of last couple of meetings I've attended is focused on the building itself, and I want to go back to the environmental impact report where you guys disclose that the site contains asbestos, lead-based paint, and PCBs. And I work in the environmental field, and I know you can remove most of these materials, but it's nearly possible to find all of it. So if the plan is still to demolish the old hospital on location, I want you to really look at your report when it says that these risks are less than significant. Usually in the environmental world, we can measure risks. We can measure air and soil and material samples. It's not just a verbiage that says less than significant. So if the plan is still to demolish the old building, we're going to have to go out in the neighborhood. We have a lot of retirees down here with nothing to do. They have a lot of masks, say they saved up from the COVID years. And we'll go out and take samples, dust samples, and there will be samples on cars and fences and houses. And it's probably just a matter of time before we find something that is significant. So talk a little bit about why the report doesn't quantify these limits.
Well, what I would like to do is just take this question and be able to give you some feedback afterwards. I don't have all the environmental information in front of me, but we're gathering these questions so we can post these answers online. So I have worked on other projects, and I understand what you're saying. I've done environmental cleanup and asbestos cleanup and that type of remediation, and the overall process, I do understand how we need to monitor for it and have air monitors on site, and should anything exceed the air level monitor readings, they can stop the project. But everything would be mitigated from the inside of the building prior to demo. So it's not like they would demo it with all the lead and asbestos in there. All that stuff gets cleaned up. But we'll formally answer this in writing.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone else? If anyone has a question, please use the raise your hand feature. I can go ahead and call on you. Anyone? I think I did see someone named Unit to BCHD. It looked like they unmuted, but it says audio failure. You guys are doing great. All right, is there anyone else want to use the raise your hand feature? Any questions? I see a question from Carol Paquette. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Carl.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Happens all the time. I've got a question about the access on Flagler Avenue. I was under the understanding that Torrance didn't allow that. And then on some of the plans that I saw, it does show egress from that parking structure. Is that all closed off now or what?
Can take that one, Nick.
Okay.
Yes, that is closed off. There is no access to the project from Flagler. So that's something that we heard loud and clear from the neighborhood, and that was an adjustment that was made when the project was selected during the environmental impact review process. So no access off of Flagler.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm also seeing a raised hand from EK. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Just a quick question. I noticed in some of the board meeting minutes that it looks like there's a project team on board and that board approval was issued for design build, but I wanted to find out if the contractor has already been selected.
No,
No,
there has not been a contractor that has been selected.
Is there a timeline for that process or is that still off in the future?
Tom, I'll let you answer that.
yeah, I can take that one. We're anticipating coming to the board in a public meeting, hopefully at their May meeting, to select a potential partner, which would include the development partner as well as the construction company for the design build. And one of the things that's been talked a lot about this project is our decision to go with a public-private partnership. That's something that we're looking at doing for phase one. There have been some questions about why aren't we doing a property tax for that. We're seeing if we can get phase one done without raising people's taxes so that we can use those funds for our free health programs that we offer. So long way of saying we hope to have the partner selected and come to the board with that discussion in May. We are using some citizens to help with that selection, and we see that happening in May.
Thank you very much.
All right, if there's any other questions, if you'd like to use the raise your hand feature, I can go ahead and call on you. Not seeing anyone just yet. Oh, I see another question from Carl. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yes. Way back when, I live right behind you. I'm in the top, the Torrance neighborhood, right behind. I look up and I can see the parking. A long time ago, we got flyers in our neighborhood for the physical fitness or the whatever over there at Beach Cities. And it was supposed to be a free thing. And I went over and inquired about it and they said, well, no, it's not free because you're in Torrance. It's only free for the Redondo Beach people. On this structure that you're putting in and all these facilities, this is only going to be for Beach Cities people, not for Torrance people, correct?
No, that's not correct. I don't know exactly what program might have been advertised, but we have lots of Torrance residents that belong to our Center for Health and Fitness, and they pay the same amount as district members. Property owners within Redondo, Manhattan, and Hermosa do pay taxes into the district, but we do not charge a fee differential for our services. So I don't know exactly what that program is, but no, we anticipate that the over 2 acres of open space would be open to the public as park space and programmable health space. And we anticipate that they'll be able to be used by everyone in the region. One of the components of the project is the Youth Wellness Center. And that's something that we anticipate not only Beach City kids getting a benefit from, but youth from the surrounding areas. So no, that's not correct.
As I said, this was many years ago and my memory is not that great. So, but thank you for your response.
Okay, is there anyone else with a question? If you'd like to use the raise your hand feature once again, open call for questions. Carl, I see you still have your hand raised. Did you have another question? Okay, hand went down. Any other hands? Any other questions? Not seeing any just yet, and we plan to be here until the end of the meeting. So,
Catherine, can you talk about our two next meetings and how those are in person? And we'll have some plans and things to look through, and perhaps it'll be more comfortable for folks to ask questions that way. So
yeah, so we will have two in-person meetings. One will be this upcoming Wednesday at the Jocelyn Center in Manhattan Beach from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And it's a drop-in, so you can come in anytime during that time window. And then we'll also have one this upcoming Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. That'll also be a drop-in, so you can come anytime from 10 to noon, and we'll have our project team there. So it'll be the same format where you can ask questions, and we'll also have just some printouts available of the CUP pre-application that was submitted to the city of Redondo Beach. So if you wanted to flip through that, but in addition, everyone's invited to those as well, if it would be more comfortable for you to come in person.
The one on Saturday will be at the Beach Cities Health District campus outside where the picnic tables are, kind of around back by the loading dock there on the what would be the east side of the project.
Great, but if anyone has additional questions, I'm still keeping an eye out for any raised hands.
Nick, do you want to talk about next steps, and then maybe I can wrap
Yeah.
up with a few comments and see if there are any more questions?
perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. So next steps, and we have these two next meetings. We're anticipating comments from the city of Redondo Beach by the end of March on our pre-application. And then we'll take some of the feedback that we've had from our community outreach meetings together with the feedback from the city, and we will fold that into what will be the actual conditional use permit application. And we will go through the process with the city. That will lead to planning commission hearings once we are deemed completed. And that is the review from city staff of the materials that you've seen online. That includes the environmental documents. And that gives time for the city to put together a staff report to go to planning commission, and we'll go through the hearing process at planning commission. So our formal public hearings will be in that. It will be with that. So this is our outreach as part of our pre-application. Once we submit the formal CUP, we'll do the same thing. We'll have another meeting like this to let you know, or so you can see what has changed from the pre-application to the formal application, which should be very little, just some details, unless there's some feedbacks from folks on what we need to clarify. And then from there, we're looking at going through submitting plans or going through the building permit application, and then the actual building itself. which is probably about 2 years.
So we know there's a lot of information. That's why we wanted to post the pre-application. We also wanted to try to provide some visuals so that people could get a sense of what things will look like. So that was our attempt there with the video tonight. We'll have drawings that people can go through in the in-person meetings. And the district takes it very seriously to make sure that people know what's going on and that people are aware. I know some have concerns about certain aspects of the project. We've tried to address those. Perhaps we've not addressed all. That's why we want to get some of the comments. But for example, there was a petition of a little less than 1,200 people. 70% were not in the district, but a petition nonetheless about an earlier phase of the project that had 420 units instead of the 217 units that we have today. There's a lot of interest regarding the residential care for the elderly component. That is one thing that we are looking for a conditional use permit on. We do have a conditional use permit today on the campus for residential care for the elderly because Silverado is there. And Silverado is a memory care facility that's currently on the campus. And we have a conditional use permit for that. And so we are seeking a conditional use permit. And that's 60 units. So we're seeking a conditional use permit for, among other things, but residential care for the elderly units of about another a little less than 160 units in addition to those 60. Other things that we hope you'll learn more about, we tried to show the open space there. I mentioned earlier the Youth Wellness Center. That's something where we're one of 6 communities in the state of California that have been awarded funds from the state of California for what's called the Altcove Project. And it's a place where youth can come receive mental health and behavioral health services without the stigma normally associated with those services. So they can come and gather with other youth, and if they need mental health or behavioral health care, they can get that on the campus. It's a partnership with Stanford, and we're one of 6 communities that have been awarded funds for this. And so that will be a component of the first phase of the project, as well what's called a program for all-inclusive care for the elderly, or PACE. And that's a place where older adults who are aging in their home can come receive their services all in one place, or come for daycare services, kind of outpatient services, if you will, for people who are still living in the home. And so we really are trying to address the health needs of the community as communicated to us by the community, and trying to do that in a way that impacts the neighborhood to the least extent possible. And then as a public agency, we're trying to generate revenues without raising taxes that can help fund our programs that we provide. So that's really the goal, but and we continue to be open to suggestions and hope that people work with us, and we look forward to doing that as we go through the conditional use permit review process.
Are there any additional questions? If you have a question, please use the raise your hand feature and I'll go ahead and call on you. Oh, I have a couple. Jackie Euclid, if you want to unmute yourself.
It's Jackie Eklund. Yeah, there was mention of drawings that would be at the physical meetings, in-person meetings. Is it possible to share them now with us on the virtual meeting?
So there are drawings that are on our website that people can access. So that's currently available to people on the website. I don't know, Paul, if you'd be prepared to show a couple of quick drawings tonight, but everything that we've submitted is on the website already. So let's see if Paul maybe can pull up a drawing or two, and then we can talk, or we can see what Carl's question is in the meantime.
Okay, if anyone is looking for it on their own as well, it's on the bchdcampus.org homepage. So that's www.bchdcampus.org. And it's right there on the homepage. It's under the section that says this is what was submitted in the CUP pre-application. It should have been sent to you in an email that went out last night as well, confirming this meeting.
So Paul, you want to just walk us through a couple of the drawings that you have here?
Sure, Tom. This is a view from one of the upper floors of the RCFE, looking out over the open space, which is a little over 2 acres, looking towards Prospect. So that's one of the renderings that we've had for a while. That's been available in the public. Upper left there is a view from the Flagler Barrel intersection, showing the PACE facility here on the lower Flagler lot and the RCFE at the edge of the campus site that we were just looking at. These are documenting the trees on the site, those that will remain. The existing plan. This shows the amount of site coverage that is either paving in the form of parking or concrete walkways and the building areas. So you can see that between the hardscape and the building area, almost 80% of the site is paved or impervious. And one of the goals of the project is to really improve that situation with green space. And so this is the proposed site plan with the programmable open space here that the first rendering showed. There is an entrance off of Prospect with shared parking between the MOB buildings, and the RCFE building forms the edge to the northwest corner of the site. And where the 514 building is now, the old hospital, that would be taken down and turned into this open space as part of the phase 1. The access, as was mentioned before, is no longer from Flagler into the building. There'll be a new driveway that comes up from Beryl Street to serve the building from the back, as well as the entrance from Prospect in the front. And this shows again, the degree of new programmable open space and planted areas, which exceed 2 acres up on the campus level itself. The hillside would be planted in addition to the plantings that are there now. We would introduce perimeter plantings along the hillside here, as well as where we can on the back to help screening as well. These buildings show different stories, the different types of uses, and the service entrance would be from the back, from Beryl here. The level on the campus itself would have assisted living and memory care entrances, as well as community services and the youth wellness center. Above that would be memory care. And then on the floors above would be assisted living. The proposed height of the building is maxed out at the highest point of the 514 building. And these views are different sections through.
There's the highest point.
Excuse me? The highest point in the building is the penthouse at the hospital building. So it's about 82 feet above what would be the campus level, which is lower than the entrance to the hospital now. Existing view of the campus now.
You know, you just blew by the highest point on your diagram. Can you explain it?
I'm sorry, it's very hard to hear the question.
You just blew past the highest point of your complex, which is 97 feet. Can you explain everything that's between 76 and 97 feet?
Catherine, can you see who's asking that question?
Yeah, so it's someone named Unit 2 BCHD. It says audio failure. It's a little hard to hear you. It's a little echoey, but I think you said you have a question about height. I don't know if you're on two devices. Maybe that could be why, but if you could speak a little clearer, and if you're on two devices, if you'd be able to mute one, that might be helpful for us to hear. And this is for, the name is Unit 2 BCHD.
Please explain the HP height on the current diagram, which shows it to be 97 feet.
Okay, I heard, please explain the height on the current diagram. And I think they mentioned 97 feet.
Not sure what the 97 feet refers to. We're basically using the top of the roof projection at the
Go down one more slide. One more. One more. Explain HP on the bottom half.
I think they said explain HP on the bottom half.
This right here, I suppose.
Yes.
And after we address this question, I know Carl's had his hand raised for some time as well.
Yeah, I don't know what that is referring to. That may be a mistake in the drawing. The
Well,
roof,
in plain English, it's 97 feet relative to the 76 feet.
the height of the building that we're anticipating is at 242.8, and there is nothing projected to be above that. So please disregard this reference.
So the roof line of the new proposed building is the same as the highest point of the prior building, while the roof line of the prior building was only 51 feet, correct?
The first part of your statement is correct. This is the high point of the existing building. What heights depend on where you're referring to the ground?
Your own diagrams show existing roof line, E parenthesis, as being 51 feet. So I assume that is correct. With this audio problem, it seems like we're done.
Yeah, that's not pointing to the highest point. It's 51 feet plus 24 feet.
No, 51 feet is the roof line of the existing building.
Of one of the buildings.
I don't know, it's your diagram, not mine. You've got it marked on the right-hand side of one of your pages. You have parenthesis E parenthesis roof line, E parenthesis E highest point. Again, it's a plain English reading.
Here's the roof projection at the high point. That's what we've been referring to. Here is the roof parapet height at this height here.
And the parapet height is the 51 feet?
Relative to the first floor of the existing building, yes.
Okay, so back to where we were. The highest point is what you're using for your parapet now, and the prior parapet was 51 feet. Just so everyone's clear how much taller this is than the existing hospital.
Yeah, the high point is corresponding to the high point of the new building.
The parapet is corresponding to the high point. The parapet of the hospital building is 51 feet. We'll document it in writing, don't worry.
Yeah, let's keep going through these.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to make a quick comment about height, and we'll make sure that we're being clear about what's happening with the height. And during the environmental impact review process, there was a finding regarding visual impacts. And in the project that was selected and approved by the board as the lead agency, mitigated that impact. And so one of the things that we've done with the height, I mentioned the units that we took off the property. There used to be units along the whole eastern side of the property. There were 420 units. We removed those units and we wanted to keep as much open space as possible. And so that's why you have some height here. And so we're trying to balance that height with impacts, with the ability to have as much open space as possible, and create a project that meets our health needs and provides funding for our free public health programs. So that's the trade-off that we're trying to reach, and we can have discussions about height, but I think we need to have those discussions in the context of, well, what are we getting at? Are we getting at?
Height is irrelevant at this stage. This is merely a documentation of fact. As well, the 16,000 volt substation was misrepresented in EIR as 4,000 volts. And the fuel was never even analyzed for the emergency generator. In fact, it's never even declared anywhere. So we've got just a number of issues that we need to deal with, and we'll deal with them in writing at the City of Redondo Beach.
Yeah, I think that would be great. The environmental impact report has been certified, and then we'll go through whatever review the city needs.
On the bright side, the environmental impact report is not determinative for either design review or for a conditional use permit. They both include economic impacts amongst other things.
All right, so I did want to make sure everyone gets a chance to ask their question. I know Carl's had his hand raised for a little while here, so why don't we call on Carl so we can get his question answered, and then I can open it up for more questions. So Carl, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, if you had a question.
Well, excuse me. Yeah, on one of those drawings, you know, I went on your website and saw it. There's numbers in green circles. Are those for the trees, or what are those numbers? That was like this third drawing down or something. That there was a bunch of numbers in green circles. Not there, no. I think it was up. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So this is a arborist's document, and the numbers are referring to the specific trees that are out there.
Okay. And then is anything, what's going to be done to mitigate traffic on Beryl Street? Because it's a nightmare in the morning, all the cars backed up and everything. And then when you add, you know, your facility to this.
So again, that's an environmental impact report question. The EIR addressed traffic. There were no findings of impact on traffic. In fact, in phase one, it's projected that there will be less traffic because we are moving from medical office building use, which we have today, which brings a lot of traffic, to, among other things, residential care for the elderly, which has less traffic. So in phase one, the EIR actually showed that there'd be less traffic from this project.
Well, I disagree, but, and then the
Well, I mean,
thing,
I think we can disagree, but
Of course, we disagree.
yeah, but if we just think intuitively about medical office building use that is on the property today versus assisted living use.
yeah, but that's medical use that is not using Beryl Street now. But and then the last thing, I would like to thank you for putting that open space, because the previous plans had that huge building that was going to shadow our neighborhood here, and I love that that green space position the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Paul, can we keep going through some of these? And I want to ask Catherine, just for, I guess, for folks that don't have their hand raised, if you can mute yourself so we don't hear some of that background noise. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great if everyone could please mute yourself, and the questions don't have to be given during this meeting either. Like we mentioned, there's going to be other meetings that you can attend, and we're always open and available for questions. So at the end, we'll go ahead and put up a slide with the information of the meetings again, in case you need to write that down. But I'll hand it back to you, Paul.
Yeah, these are just different views of the massing of the proposed building and the open space. And some elevations. This is that view that we looked at earlier from the Beryl Flagler intersection. And the view looking across the open space to the building as it forms the edge to the campus.
If everyone could please just stay on mute. If you have a question, please raise your hand, but otherwise, if you could stay on mute, that'd be helpful.
I think those are the main drawings, Nick. The rest are
Okay.
for engineering.
Yeah. If we can just go back to the group as a whole, and now that we've shared the same packet that's been submitted to the city and it's been on the Beach Cities Health District website, if you have any further questions or any additional questions on what you've seen and the information that we've shared, we'd love to hear from you.
don't see anyone's hand raised just yet. We have a little less than 10 minutes left. Did we maybe want to wrap it up and then we
I
can?
think if we don't have any questions right now, we encourage people to continue to review the plans. We'll have some in person at the next 2 meetings, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue and see how we can make this a better project. That's something that the district's been committed to for years, and we're going to stay committed to that. So these are the additional opportunities coming up on Wednesday at the Jocelyn Center in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30. Again, that'll be an open house. You don't need to stay for the whole time. Don't need to come right at 6:30 if you can't make that. And then on Saturday from 10 to noon, again, that'll be an open house format.
All right, so I think that's all we have, but the project team will go ahead and hang on until 7:30, so a couple more minutes. If you need to go, I think that's all we have for you, but happy to answer any additional questions. All right, I'm not seeing anyone's hands raised, but like I said, we'll go ahead and hang on through 7:30 just in case.
Can we do a show of hands of folks that have been able to access the information online? Just a quick request from folks, if you've been able to download the information and actually review it. I just want to see that folks have been able to access it, and it's not just that this is the first time you've seen it, or so. Catherine, I can't see how many hands are up. I think I saw 2 of them.
Yeah, I saw 2 hands raised.
There's 3 now.
Here, I can stop sharing my screen if that helps.
I just wanted, for our purposes, that folks are, you've got the email, you got the invite, we're able to download the information and look at it. So we've got 3 folks that were able to look at the information. Thank you very much for sharing.
Robert, he put his hand down. Okay, if there's any other questions, you can use the raise your hand feature again. We can call on you. Otherwise, we'll just hang on through 7:30. I can put the additional meeting slide back up just in case.
That would be fine.
Once again, if there's any additional questions, please go ahead and raise your hand.
Well,
We have about,
I hope folks can join us to the in-person meetings, and so we'll have printed copies of the drawings, and it'll be a lot more comfortable to flip those in person and ask questions, and we will all be there. And look forward to seeing you in person and getting more feedback on the project.
we have about a minute left, but thanks everyone for attending. And like Nick was saying, if you are able to come to the in-person meetings, we look forward to seeing you there. And that's all we have for you.
Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll be seeing you soon, I hope. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.